Let's find out who made it on Portland Tea Party. Welcome to Portland Tea Party. I'm Ciara Pressler. This is your favorite show about Portland, the tea, and where the party's at. Today we're going to meet some of my favorite people, at least of today, and I'm going to have you know all the things that they do and why they're so amazing. But first, let's look at the headlines. And when you think of the headlines, you're probably thinking of the Oregonian or the Willamette Week or even the Portland Business Journal. But let's talk about the newspaper that consistently has the best headlines in these streets, the Asian Reporter. They know how to get issues off the stands and into hands because, look, they always put cute animals on it. I mean, let's say 6 times out of 10, it's a panda, for reals. But look, Thai town maddened by marauding monkeys launches plan to relocate them. Whoever wrote that headline, kudos to you, good sir or ma'am. The other person I want to call out, if you're not following the Portland Police Bureau Bike Squad Instagram, what are you even doing with your life? It is so good. And I'm fighting to have the person behind that account on this show because that person is brilliant and providing entertainment on entertainment on entertainment. So if you're looking at the big guys for your news headlines, you need to look a little further into the depths. That's where you're going to find the best tea. All right, I want to get straight to the party today because of all people, not necessarily who you would think right away as a party person, but Commissioner Carmen Rubio posted all the best parties of summer on Instagram. And I thought, why do I need to go and research all the best parties when Rubio's doing it for me on top of helping run this city? So kudos to you. That's my kind of, I want party electeds, you know that. So first news of all is that the rodeo, 8 Seconds Juneteenth Rodeo, is sold out. You can't get a ticket now. Did I warn you of this a month ago? Did I warn you of this 2 months ago? Yes, I did. And if you don't watch every episode of this show, again, what are you even doing? So your luck's out. Maybe you can stand outside the Coliseum and try to see a horse, but it probably won't work. All right, then we have got, oh my goodness, the Waterfront Blues Festival. Everybody loves it. Where does it take place? That's right, the waterfront over 4th of July weekend, annual event. If you've got a boat, roll up. If you've got feet, roll up. If you don't have feet, I bet it's accessible too. That is not what I probably just should have said. But I was just going to say that it's open to everybody. Now we've got a Chinese festival, Oregon Chinese Coalition. This is cool. I've never been to this. It's August 5th, so save the date. It's going to be in Pioneer Square. Now, this is new. People are excited about this. PDX Live Summer Concert Series in Pioneer Courthouse Square. We all can remember, if we grew up around here, Pioneer Courthouse Square, middle of downtown, being activated with cool events, concerts, not just the Christmas tree lighting. You got to love it. We're going to have Ween, Mount Joy, Always, Slater Kinney, Ethel Cain. So if you know who any of those people are, you might want to go to that. August 30th, Montevilla Jazz Festival. Rose City Comic-Con, September 6th through 8th. And there's going to be overlapping with that, Geek Week, the world's first citywide Comic-Con. Hide your kids, hide your wife. All right. Plus, much more. You know that concert series is going to start at the soccer stadium. And tomorrow is the parade, the floral parade. And I didn't realize it's on the east side now. So that's really exciting. You can roll right up, easy place for transit to get over to that parade. And who doesn't love a parade? It's a big weekend here in Portland. We also have My People's Market. Check that out. We'll drop some links for you in the show notes. When I'm back, I'm going to introduce you to one of my friends at the city. This is Vivian Satterfield. She is the Chief Sustainability Officer at the City of Portland. Welcome, Vivian.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, what is a Chief Sustainability Officer when it comes to a city?
I actually think I have the coolest job at the city. No offense to anybody else who works there, but it's a really cool job because currently in my portfolio, I get to not only help steward and oversee all the city's climate policy, but I also get to manage our solid waste and materials management. So public trash, even graffiti is under my portfolio. And so it has a lot to do with livability, it has a lot to do with how people feel when they come into the city of Portland and recognize that we are a climate and sustainability leader nationally.
Wow. So I've always thought of Portland. I think a lot of people think of Portland as a city that cares a lot about sustainability, that cares about climate, cares about the environment. And one thing I really like about what you do is that you are not just here in Portland focusing on our community. You are traveling throughout the country, around the world, representing Portland and finding out what other cities are doing too. Tell me a little bit about your ambassadorship for the city.
Well, yeah, I mean, like the adage that we all know, it's think globally but act locally. And so even though Portland has been a national and even international leader on climate policy for a long time, it's worth looking at other places, other cities. And so we're part of a lot of networks, global networks like C40 as an example. And so I don't want to make it seem like I get to like travel and just like increase my carbon footprint all the time, but it is one of the perks of the job is to be able to connect and reach people to hear what they're doing, not just throughout the Cascadia region here with British Columbia, but also get to learn best practices from other parts of the world.
Yeah, I think that's something Portland could do better at is paying attention to what other places are doing. Like our problems aren't unique. Our solutions will be unique to us, but like everybody's dealing with climate, whether they want to acknowledge it or not.
Absolutely. And, this is just maybe a personal perspective, but a lot of times folks tend to take a really Eurocentric view to like, oh, what can we learn from places like, for example, Amsterdam, or like there's a lot of people riding their bikes. But, I am an international person myself. My family is all in Southeast and East Asia. So I tend to take a more expansive view of where are the places where people, have less, and what are they doing with that? How are they already intrinsically living sustainably and having that personal value out front?
Nice. So let's talk about Portland. What are some of the like tangible initiatives that you're helping to see forward or you're partnering on for our own sustainability?
Yeah, one of the projects that I'm really excited about that's happening right now and has been an emerging edge is how we help local manufacturing businesses, industrial businesses. So some of y'all may not be aware that we have a working waterfront. There's a lot of industrial businesses there, a lot of ships, a lot of things are being made with really high heat manufacturing. So think about steel, think about those sort of processes. We have a clean industry initiative that is trying to work with these businesses on how to reach the city's overarching greenhouse gas emission goals and climate goals. So this transition, what we call a gray to green transition, can happen with our help. So technical support, doing needs assessments, and really working alongside businesses to continue to retain those local jobs, but also make sure they can pivot to reaching these goals.
That's a big thing that I think about and that I worry about when I think about sustainability and when I think about improving our environment is, I can focus on putting the right things in my recycle bin or my compost bin.
Right.
But if we've got big industry that isn't moving forward on sustainable practices, like my little actions become negated. And that's not to say it doesn't matter what you do, but it's a different drop in a different bucket.
No, totally.
Yeah.
And, we are beyond just the individual actions and what everyday people can do. I'm not saying don't continue to do your part.
Right.
Absolutely continue to be sorting your recycling, doing as many things that you can in your everyday actions, like choosing to shift the way that you may be moving around the city, for example, take a transit trip every once in a while. But those are all really overshadowed by what we need to see from industry, businesses, and much bigger actors than just ourselves individually.
Yeah, and I think because where we live and where we work and play is usually separated from where those industries are based, we don't always, I know I wasn't very conscious of how much industry is happening in Portland until I went to the Clean Industry event last May.
Yeah, you helped MC.
Yeah, I did.
It was awesome.
It was really cool, and to bring everybody together in one place. And I appreciate that the city. It was through the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability
That's
where
right.
you have sat thus far, and they brought together industry, academia, community, and government, saying like we have to work together to get anywhere on this, which I very much appreciate. But I didn't realize yet, like, oh, we've got ships being built over here. Oh, the port is like the whole peninsula of North Portland, and there's a lot of industry and manufacturing still happening, and that's the history of our city too. And since it's a lot of the livelihood, we do need to keep it, but we have to help it move along.
Yeah, exactly. And I really appreciate the collaborative approach that city leaders have been taking to that. You know, when it comes to climate and sustainability issues, we've done all the easy stuff. So everything that we're working on right now truly is the most difficult work. And I really have to commend all the folks who are showing up and leaning in and committing their resources to figure this out.
So a couple things. One thing that's confusing to me about the way the city works, one of the several, is when I think of sustainability, I kind of conflate that with climate, and I kind of conflate that with environment because they are connected,
Mm-hmm.
but there's separately like the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. And then there's the Portland Clean Energy Fund, which is embedded in that, but they work separately. But then there's a Bureau of Environmental Services, but then there's a Water Bureau. And yeah. And then your role now is coming out of the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability and going to sit in the more of like an executive section of the new city org chart.
That's correct.
Yeah. So how do people understand who does what?
Well,
or can you even answer that?
I think the unsatisfactory answer is that we're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
I mean, even though voters, passed a charter change, we're implementing that change now. The change that we're going to see is going to take many, many years to fully implement. And so some things will be more immediate. For example, myself as the chief sustainability officer being pulled out from being embedded in a bureau and into the city administrator's office.
Yeah.
But other things are not as easy to do as just moving a single person or an office. It has to do with coordination around our natural resources. You know, the city of Portland manages over 40% of what we can call our natural green spaces.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot. And that's not just Forest Park, by the way.
Right.
And so, you know, this is an immense amount of work that we have to figure out. And so we're coordinating, we're talking, learning, of course, from other cities. What are some of those best practices, and what are other chief sustainability officers, and how do they organize their roles and tasks? And I really look forward to working alongside not just existing city leaders, but other city leaders to figure out what is the future and how do we want to coordinate this.
Yeah, and put Portland back in that number one spot of being an innovator in these areas. You know, I think we were really leading for a while, and then when we rest, other cities like bolt ahead of us, and sometimes they have other factors that allow them to move forward. But I really want to see Portland at the cutting edge of what is happening to make a more sustainable planet and local community.
Yeah, I mean, we can't lose on this, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have to continue having our eyes on the prize and continue to be motivated, and most of all, have hope. Like, we have all the technology, all the tools, and plenty of resources to figure this out. So let's do it.
Let's do it. I love that. And the last thing I want to say on a personal note, because we always have to have a little tea, is knowing you as a leader, and this is your second year in the role. Mm-hmm. I really appreciate that you like stay healthy while in this leadership role. Like, you have a good sense of work-life balance and needing.
Appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, no, I really admire this about you. Like, I know that you've already been out camping this year a couple times,
Yep.
right? And you do a bunch of sports, and are you sailing? Is that what you're doing? You're like learning that?
I'm always trying to learn how to do new things. Last
Okay.
year was sailing. This year I'm learning how to outdoor rock climb.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to let you do that.
Instead of touching grass, I'm going outside and touching rocks.
I like that. Well, you know, and it plays into your role too.
It does.
So that's good. Well, keep that balance. We need healthy leaders, and I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing and that you're representing Portland to the rest of the world.
It's an honor and a privilege to do so.
All right, thanks.
Thanks so much.
When we're back, we are going to meet the artists behind this amazing work behind us during our tea time.
You guys may be more nervous. That was like,
No, don't be nervous. It's all good.
I'm not usually in the front.
You're in the front right now.
No,
We got you.
It's weird.
This is Mark Small. Mark Small's the artist behind this amazing art, and we are here at the Blend Festival, the inaugural, first one, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so tell me about Blend. What was the vision?
I mean, Blend really was started from the idea I just needed to get out the house. I've been a designer for a very long time, but
Yeah.
secretly I kind of been creating this artwork and the behind the scenes that really just sits on my hard drive. A lot of it was just me just making this just to pass the time. And my partner eventually just said to me, people need to see this.
Yeah.
So I'm a person who does not like to leave the computer. So she said, why don't we do an art festival? And I said,
Just a little step
Yeah.
from computer to art.
but you know, when you just kind of agree to something like, sure,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And here we are, we're making it happen.
I mean, your work is beautiful, and I couldn't believe that and I'm seeing a whole huge room in front of us, that all this work is you. I thought it was just a certain collection because there's a lot of diversity to your styles. What
Yeah,
informs that?
a lot of it just comes from, interest in hip hop,
Yeah.
pop culture.
Yeah.
I'm really into like 70s album covers.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of influenced by things that I see, and a lot of it is just me wanting to like figure out how did they make those, right? Like
Yeah.
I use a computer every day, but these guys didn't use computers. So a lot of it's just like, how did they actually do this, right? So it's really me just kind of like reverse engineering how a lot of this work I saw was made and just kind of adding my own flair on top of it.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about this piece. It's gorgeous. What's it all about?
Honestly, we call this one Napoleon Dynamite. Honestly, it was just me sitting at home one day and I was just looking at some artwork and I kind of realized that I never like saw artwork in this style with black people in them.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see like what it would look like to do like a traditional art style, but have like characters that look like what I look like.
Yes.
And here it is.
I love it. It's like giving Bridgerton.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And then we've got almost like an Afrofuturism behind you with these pieces. Are they inspired by album covers?
Same idea. After
Yeah.
like these are album covers, like Earth, Wind and Fire album covers.
Yeah.
So the same things. These are like covers that I would see, and then I would sort of like again just like sort of put my own spin. Like, what if I change the characters around? What if I put this kind of person in this context? Just to kind of, I'm just fascinated to see like what things look like.
Yes.
Cause I have ideas in my mind. I want to see them like out in the world.
And what's your medium? You're doing this all on the computer. What kind of
It's
software?
it's a mix. So
Yeah.
some of these are like older pieces that were like done in traditional art styles that I'll then bring in digitally and then sort of add on top of it. 'Cause
Okay.
a lot of it, again, I don't know how to really describe it. It's more like problem solving, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I want to create this technique, but how do I actually do it?
Yeah.
So some of these are things I've been working on for like 10, 15 years almost.
But this is a
That's-
painting. No.
That is a print of a
A print
painting that
of
I
it.
then took into Photoshop and then
Oh,
sort of
wow.
add layers on top of it. So
It's almost like collage.
like a mixed media sort of a
Yeah.
collage. So like, again, it's just me sort of like trying to figure out how to do certain techniques. So
Uh-huh.
shout out to YouTube University. That's
Yes.
kinda so it's a lot of like YouTube tutorials. Like, oh, I'll see something cool. I'm like, oh, let me add that to this and see how that looks. And then it just sort of builds up over time.
I love it.
Thank
It's
you.
so creative. I don't have the visual art like sensibility at all.
I did not grow up as an artist, right? So these are things that you can learn this over
Really?
time.
Wait, so where'd you start out?
I mean, I grew up in New York. I mean, I went to art school, but I don't think of myself as an artist, right? Because
Wait. You grew up in New York. You went to art school in New York? And
I went
you
to art school in Atlanta.
Still.
So like, I went to art school for a very brief moment of time, and then realized what I really wanted to be was a graphic designer.
I love
Right.
graphic design.
So
but that's
to-
art?
It is, but to me, graphic design is more problem solving, right? Like you're trying to solve a problem. So a lot of this, again, is like problem solving. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to create this technique. Now, how do I go figure it out?
Right.
So everything to me always comes back to how do you solve a particular problem. Art just happens to be the technique that I use to solve those problems, but I don't think of, again, I'm really here today, really for the other people who are here. Like just
Yeah.
the community that we've met, like an amazing muralist, this guy Salim that we met. You know what I mean? So a lot of the dudes in the show are just people that we saw and we're like, oh, you're amazing. This guy Ronan, who
Yes.
I want to say, Ronan, I hate you. He's back here. He's got amazing pieces. It's just the
Yes.
people we meet who, no one knows who we. I mean, I'm new to the city.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's like me seeing people, me and my partner coming across people and saying, like, listen, we want to do this thing. We want to build this community of artists, have like a party, make it fun so people can buy art, hang out. You know, we have like amazing like food vendors that are coming through here.
Yeah.
People that we just went to the restaurant are like, oh, this
Top
food is amazing.
DJs. You're having a charcuterie competition?
Charcuterie
What could be
competition,
more Portland than
right?
that? I love that.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
You know, panels, just a way for everyone to get together, just kind of hang out, talk, look at art, and sort of like exchange ideas.
So it's today, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
We dropped the link in the show notes, Blend Festival.
Festival.
Just search Blend Festival 2024 Portland. You can get a ticket. You can come down here, drink food, meet cool people, meet the artists, buy the art.
Buy art, hang
Please
out,
buy art.
just kind of chill. Like it's really just us, just a bunch of artists just chilling, hanging
Yeah.
out, having a good time, and hopefully people come out and kind of we can keep doing this. Let's build
Right.
this up.
And we're right here in the Goldsmith blocks, which is Old Town. It's the same block as Dead Stock Coffee and the Hoxton Hotel. Easy to park, easy to pop in. Everyone here is so friendly. So please come out, support this festival in this first year because I want it to come back.
And I just want to give a shout out to the city of Portland.
Yeah.
Because this is really a humble idea that we just had in our house. And it's only through the people that we've met on this journey that we've even gotten this far.
I'm so impressed. You know, everybody has ideas. Everybody says, like, why don't we do this? Or wouldn't it be cool if that? And very few people actually do it. And very, very few people actually do it well. So congratulations on both of the above.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All
Everybody
right.
come out.
Everybody come out. You heard it here. All right. When we're back, I'm going to reiterate the parties you should be attending this weekend. Okay, party people, the weather is amazing. There's no excuse not to get up on out there. So first of all, today, Saturday, Sunday, you've got this Blend Festival in Old Town. Then on Saturday and Sunday, make sure you stop by My People's Market. It's over at the Red in Inner Southeast. Tomorrow morning, Saturday, you might stop by the parade. It's happening in the Lloyd district between the Lloyd Center and the Coliseum. That big grand floral parade, you gotta love it. Classic Portland. We've got a Thorns game tomorrow night. Can't stop, won't stop. This is the weekend to be out in Portland. So get out there, support local businesses, local artists. That's what we do best here in Portland. Thank you for coming to Portland Tea Party. Thank you to all of you who are tuning in and changing the game. We'll see you next week.